Uh, yes, Rajiv.
Yes, yes.
Okay, nice. All right. See, right now, I'm sorry, it's zoomed in. Let me zoom in a little, zoomed out actually. Let's see if it shows. You must be seeing a white screen right now. No, let me just reduce it a little bit. All right. I think this should be decent. Now you should be able to see. Correct? You're able to see the
Yes,
screen
yes.
now?
You can see.
All right. All right.
Yes.
So, Ida and Shita, the basic idea, of these session, 1, 2, 3, we started speaking on Tuesday and, yesterday and today. And my whole intention was to give you an insight into the mind of a business analyst, all along, so that you get a sense of how this job has to be done, what is expected from you as an individual, what is, just a flavor basically, nothing more. The real meat is about to come. The real stuff, it's all on the curriculum. Okay. What I did so far is give you a little deep dive into how any BA would be thinking under various situations. We picked up the example of a library, and those are just very basic examples. We have to, really cover, a long mile. Um, the example of loan was a little bit more industry oriented, something that you could also still relate to. But, the industry we work in, for example, insurance or actual systems, there is far more complexity. Even a small, decision to put a field was often debated over a couple of days, and uh, and it can be a little challenging at times. So you need to be equipped with those individual skill sets that help you navigate through this situation and you perform your job well, you are able to face the interviews well. So uh, these 3 sessions, from Tuesday to today, they are just at 80,000 feet. They give you a high level view. But starting Monday perhaps, okay, uh, I'm just a trainer, so it's Satya who is managing everything for us. So all those conversations also have to happen, whether we can start tomorrow or we can start Monday, whether we can do it on weekend also as per your comfort and everything, right? So and my availability. So basically what I'm in my curriculum, this curriculum is essentially based on some thought process that says that we should be covering these aspects with every student. Okay, um, these are the things that they should go through, and um, I'm going to just take you through this. I'm going to walk you through this. Okay, I'm not going to cover them exactly in the same order, but yeah, here and there. But in my mind, it takes at least 20-25 sessions for anybody to actually become a BA, and that also includes some exercises in the process. I think, Akshita, you raised this point yesterday that there should be some take-home assignments, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Right.
Right.
And exactly that's why I asked you, like, how do you plan your day on a daily basis? Are you working? You are researching, searching for a job? So, it gives me a very good idea that,
Right.
yes, the student or the candidate here has availability, will research, will complete the assignment, and same, applies to you here. Okay. So, the first part, I'll just take 5 minutes to go through this. And I often say 5 minutes, but it will be 15 minutes even before we know it. But yes, this is a very important part that I must walk you through the curriculum. And then I'll come back to the slides. There are 3-4 slides that I left from yesterday. Uh, those were all basically fundamentals of business analysis itself. So introduction to a business analyst, this is what we covered basically in the last 2 days. BA qualities, skills, roles, responsibility. We spent a lot of time uh, getting into the skin of a BA, how a BA thinks and works. Type of requirements, this I have not covered, but basically I'll be telling you non-functional, functional, cosmetic, technical. These are the different type of requirements that you will see. Stakeholders, we all understand who stakeholders are, but a proper slide telling you You have a business stakeholder, you have a project stakeholder, you have account stakeholder, you have stakeholders which you cannot even think of, but they become a stakeholder to a project eventually, meaning indirect stakeholders and so on. And then what is business process modeling? This is a very important part that, yesterday, like we were saying, that when you go to a loan officer and you start thinking how loan officer thinks, that is nothing but business process modeling in your mind. Here comes the application, somebody fills it up, somebody looks at eligibility, somebody says this must be the interest rate that should be charged, this must be the period, and then somebody comes up with a schedule of the mortgage, and then eventually an acceptance or rejection letter, So that is basically a business process. So we'll be going into the depth of it. Okay, I think I skipped the second point. Let me go back. So this second point is what Hira brought up. So Hira, you were asking me about healthcare and insurance yesterday, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this basically is a quick session. Basically, it talks about the popular domains in which BAs are actively used. So historically, it was banking and insurance industry that were using the BAs, and they perfected the art of using the BAs actually. But then over a period of time, the new age industry really took over, and we have BAs even in uh, businesses that do not get classified into a particular industry. For example, digital marketing, you might have heard of this term, digital marketing and search engine optimization. These are new things that are happening on earth, on the face of this earth. And there are a lot of BAs going into that space also, like how to analyze, and it's very unstructured. Banking and insurance, healthcare, they're very, very structured industries. There are rules, there is terminology, there is something that you are expected to know. There are things that will happen the way they happen because there is government bodies which are regulating this industry very, very, very strictly. So there are things that happen, right? But there are domains in which there is no government regulation as such. The business analyst almost learns everything every day and decides this is the way it has to be done. So, there's a difference, and I will also talk about the kind of domain certifications available which you may want to pursue depending upon where you get your first job. As a BA, you may like that industry. You may want to say, do something in banking, I want to do something in insurance or healthcare. There are domain certifications available. These are very different from the full-time graduate or postgraduate courses we pursue. Okay, so like in life insurance, there is a body called Life Office Management Association of America, LOMA, basically. LOMA certifications are highly regarded. They are very expensive. They take a lot of effort. But in the IT industry, when I say IT industry, you might have heard of companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Accenture, Deloitte, right? You might have heard of these companies, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The consulting companies, right?
Heard of these companies? Hira?
Sorry? Yeah, I heard about these companies.
Yeah. So in these companies also, there are a lot of life insurance and property and casualty business analysts. Okay. And they all pursue these certifications. Like personally, I have pursued LOMA at one point of time. And then I got more interested I completed that. And then I got more interested in your commercial insurance. And then I pursued another designation called CPCU, which is Chartered Property Underwriting Associate of America. So that was pursued by me at a later point of time. And it's very common to find BAs working in these companies with these kind of certifications because when the project comes, these companies actually pitch their clients with these kind of domain certifications. I'm not saying everybody has it, and I'm not saying it is a must, but I'm just making all of us aware that these are the things that are happening in the market, and a lot of people are pursuing, these kind of certifications. Okay. Third point is IT companies overview and BA skills. So this we just touched upon yesterday, a little bit like how an IT company is organized. You have a project manager, you have a BA who does the requirement gathering, and they speak amongst each other, come up with an estimate of resource, time, and budget, and then they go about executing it, and they manage the risks in the project along the way to meet everything on time. And then there are some thumb rules available for us to measure, okay, to say that a project is successful or not successful, and there are some industry norms. So we can touch upon that in this session. Okay. Uh, are you guys with me, or like
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a little bit more into what you should expect over the next
Yes.
classes. All right. The next is enterprise analysis. So what is enterprise is basically like yesterday I gave you example of a loan department, but think about it. A bank also has a credit department. A bank also has commercial lease department. A bank also has personal auto loan department. A bank also has your savings account and current account. A bank also has other things that they do, bonds and other fixed deposits and everything. So when when an IT engagement is looking at an enterprise, okay, then what the bank will say is, listen, I got one system that does store every customer information. So I don't want your loan application to capture the customer information again. Rather, we keep a central system. Okay, the customer may already be a savings account customer in the same bank, or maybe a fresh customer, doesn't matter. Let's store it in a central place. You guys don't build the customer information in your loan system. Just build the logic for the loan. We will have a separate system which is existing, and you just pick up the data from there. So you may ask, why would a bank do that? Because if a customer is coming for loan, tomorrow he may be a customer for personal auto loan, or tomorrow he may become a customer for your savings account or a fixed deposit. Correct?
Yes.
Right. And then the bank may market different products to him through a central database. Right. So given all this, uh, sometimes an enterprise analysis is very important for a BA. So now tomorrow you go in as a BA, you may just ask this question, you know what, this information may be elsewhere, can we not pull it from there? And it's a brilliant approach. So, and that will happen only if you are aware, or in the back of your mind you have this concept of the fact that a lot of information is already present in another system, and how do I piggyback that system? How do I use that system to my advantage? Okay. Moving on, we have something called SDLC. SDLC is nothing but software development lifecycle. Okay. There are many ways of looking at software development lifecycle, but the first one is waterfall. Then we have agile, Scrum, and then we have RUP, also known as Rational Unified Process. Now, software development lifecycle, we did touch upon it yesterday also, and I went into the waterfall model without giving the name waterfall to you. Waterfall is nothing but requirement gathering, development, testing, validation, user acceptance, production support. That's waterfall, meaning things flow from the top to the bottom, correct? And they will happen in the same order. You cannot test before development, you cannot do sign off before development, correct? And that is true for every other model also, but there are variances to waterfall, and they are known by different names. You have agile, Scrum, very, very popular in the market. Every person will ask you this question: have you worked in an agile environment? Do you know what is Scrum? Have you been a Scrum master? RUP is more or less something that there was a company called Rational Software. So they promoted something called Rational Unified Process. It became very popular. Okay, I'll come to RUP later. So Agile and Scrum is something we will need to go a little bit deep into, because the problem in the industry today is that Agile and Scrum everybody wants to use. There are some very good benefits of this methodology of developing software. So all of us need to spend some time, like on the initial days, Tuesday and Wednesday, we spend a lot of time going over and juicing out those examples, loan, library. We spend so much time going and debating over basic things. Same way, you would need to spend some time going over SDLC. You would need to get comfortable with what is Agile, what is Scrum. And trust me, not all of us have worked on these methodologies. Not every customer knows what is agile. They are all trying it right now. And IT industry is such, they don't have they are always in a state of flux. IT industry is always changing. Today they're talking of A thing, tomorrow they're talking of B, C, D. Like when I joined the industry, I had not heard of Agile and Scrum, and this is not very long ago, probably 7-8 years back. Okay, and now when I go for to talk to any person, even when I'm hiring, I always ask them Agile and Scrum. Just I'm afraid, that if the candidate doesn't know Agile and Scrum, uh, he may not be a good fit for my project, because I'm not sure whether Agile is being followed completely in my project, but I don't want to talk to a person who doesn't know Agile and Scrum. I mean, I'm just making it a little extreme, but what I'm trying to give you an impression is that these are important methodologies about which you need to be very clear, and a lot of candidates are not clear about these methodologies. But at least I'll give you a working definition with which you can work, and uh, push your way through, on these, two things. RUP, not very popular, promoted by a company called Rational. Rational eventually got acquired by IBM. So it was like RUP used to do, Rational used to develop software for business requirement gathering. They had their own methodology. They even had a software. It became very popular. It was called Rational Roles, and they were the ones who came up with this term use cases. And you will hear this word use cases very, very frequently even if you search on Google, and when you go for interviews, everybody will say, do you know how to write a use case? Do you know what is a use case? This, that, everything around use cases. And when I joined the industry, use cases used to be very popular, very popular. So Rational was a big force then, and then IBM purchased the company itself, and then it became IBM, RUP, from there. But it's not extremely popular, but you never know. You may end up in a project in which IBM is present, and they may be promoting this RUP over there, so you need to know. Okay. You with me, Ira
Yes.
and Akshita? Okay, all right, very good. The next one is requirement process planning and management. So this one, obviously we need to go into detail, but I gave you an impression of what is the requirement, what are the type of requirement. Of course, we did not go into detail. How do you plan and manage a requirement? What is the requirement process? So we'll go into the nitty-gritties of these things. Okay. Then there is something called requirement engineering. You can ignore the word engineering because just ignore it. It's just basically now going detail into how you gather the requirements, right? What are the basic principles of gathering the requirements? What do you call joint application development? Who are you partnering with during joint application development? How do you start with data analysis, create models, scenarios, interviewing, how do you interview? Okay. Prototype, why do you need to prototype sometimes? When do you need to prototype? When you should not prototype? Okay, what is the meaning of prototyping? Reverse engineering, this is not what you do, but sometimes what happens is when we go into a client, the client says, you know what, I have a system that does some, let's say loan calculation, but I don't have the programmer who developed it anymore. He left our company, and the system is still running, and it's running in, say, mainframe, or let's say in VB6 or some old language. I need to modernize it. So can the BA come in and decipher the logic that's on that system? So you start with a simple thing, you start with, a couple of examples, and then you say, this is how it's working, and the client obviously knows overall how it's working, and this is reality. This is how software industry works. There are people using the system, but they don't know how the system works because there are so many nitty-gritties, and they want our help to figure out, as strange as it may sound, that the owner of the system doesn't know how the system runs. But that's the way it is. Things have moved on in life. People have moved on. System is still running. Okay. Then the next one is more into requirement analysis. So there is something called RTM, or popularly known as requirements traceability matrix. In this, what we do, Hira and Akshita, is, let's say when you when somebody tells you I have to develop a system, they will give you a list of, say, 35 or 100 or 40 or 50 or 60, 70, 100, requirements. And then you have to ensure that you have documented each one of these 100 requirements, maybe over a period of 4 months. And then when the system is getting developed, it's a sort of a checklist where you ask the testing team, did you test requirement number 41? Did you test requirement number 42? Did you test 43? And then, the kind of conversations that happen is, you know what, we are stuck on requirement 44. The development team is not being able to deliver requirement 44 because of there is a complexity. And then as a BI, you will be able to say, hey, you know what, if you're not being able to deliver requirement number 44, you should not be testing requirement number 70, 74, 78, 80 because they're all dependent on requirement number 44. So requirement traceability metrics it serves many purposes. Okay, it helps you know what is the total requirement, how many are getting tested, what are the test cases, do you have the data to test it, okay, and what is the dependency amongst each of these requirements, and so on. Okay, then we have something very common in IT industry called change management. Okay, so how do you do the change management? What are the nitty-gritties of that? Moving on, we have requirements risk management. Sometimes there are risks associated with the gathering the requirement, executing them. So what are those risks? How do you appreciate what is the risk? And I mean, in all our, I think in the current curriculum across the globe, sometime or other you might have come across a chapter on risk in any context. I don't know, whatever subject you may have studied. Have you ever come across the risks involved in anything, any chapter around that in your textbook or anything ever?
Yes.
Yes.
There's call mitigation. They also call it
Exactly. So this is more like risk in the context of requirements, right? So risk management is such an important function in the world today. Then we have gap analysis, impact analysis. Gap analysis tells you where there are gaps in the existing system and how do you fill them with requirements. Okay, and impact analysis is what happens if you develop something and what will be the impact further. Like, for example, when we're developing a loan application system, right? So you remember we developed a form that said we are declining you a loan, right? Yesterday we talked about that scenario. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. Now, what is the impact of this? When we decline somebody and send a letter to the person probably will never come back to the bank, right?
Yeah.
Right. So this is the impact of developing something and sending out, So I'm giving you one example. So probably what we can do here is we can tweak the system, we can change the system and say, if a loan application is going to get rejected, only the loan officer will get an email from the system saying that this person, so-and-so customer who had walked in on so-and-so date, his application has been rejected. You can hand over the rejection letter to the customer, but we will not mail it. So now the loan officer is the person in between. Now what he will do is he will call the customer and say, sir, let's meet up in the bank and we'll discuss your loan, without telling the person that the loan has been rejected, for XYZ reason. And when the person comes in, the loan officer can still talk to that person and say, can you give me additional proof of income? Can you give me additional this? Because see, everybody wants to help everybody in the world. It's not that people don't want to help each other. But the problem is, if my system sends out a rejection letter, the customer is going to get pissed and he's never going to come back or walk into the bank again, even if the bank is offering some other thing which is very attractive for the customer. But it's, it's an image of the bank that's we have frozen in the mind of the customer with the rejection letter. So this is an impact of the requirement which we fulfilled. So we have to think about it. Not that you and I have to think about it, but the loan officer has to think about it, that what happens if I send a rejection letter from the system to the customer. Okay. Moving on, we have something which is more, this is the section 9 is where this is very, very focused on your hard skills. And I say hard skills, basically how you write a document. Okay. FSD, BRS, URD, BRD is nothing but a requirement document. Okay, in fact, I'll bring up a requirement document from my current account where I'm working very briefly. So I'll show you one example. Okay, not the best example, but and I'm not sure whether you'll be able to understand it because it's very specific. But I'll just bring one up because I just want to bring one up. So just so that you can see how requirements look like. Maybe this one I'll bring up. This one, something that is, which has, there are some pictures on it so that you can see what it is. Let me see. So, you know what, are you able to see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, okay, so this is where I am on the requirement. Okay, 8795. And the first requirement was written by me, and now today I'm at 8795. Okay, so I've written so many requirements for a customer now. I'm tired, but I'm still writing requirements. That's how a project goes. This project is running for 4 years now. Okay, so let me bring up. I'm looking for 6249. Okay, this one I'll bring up. Okay, I think I have another document in there. All right. So basically, you'll see this is something called Safe Driver Bonus. Okay. This is something we give to a customer. Hira, do you drive, or Akshita, do you drive, or anybody you know who drives a car?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So basically after 3 years of driving, of having insurance with my client, basically we give you something called Safe Driver Bonus, which is basically something that is really an advantage of the customer. Okay. So one simple example, of the document. This is happening where my client has been running this program for 20 years. Okay, they have been running this program for 20 years. There are enough people in the client organization who know what this is. They can, while they're sleeping, they can, tell you that this is what it is. Even in the middle of the night, they can tell you how the program runs, right? And then I'm documenting it just to make a small change. That's why I'm telling you that business analysis is a recession-proof work. Every time there's a small change, you have to document everything all over again. Okay, so then I start with the background. And I know you'll not be able to understand this right now. If I were to explain it to you, probably you will. But I'm just sharing this format, the structure. Okay, so requirement details. Okay, look at the formatting of the document. You will not find something out of the place. It's very well documented. Okay, this is an example I have given for the customer. Okay, how do you determine a policy qualified? I was also learning a little bit. Then I came up with methodology. So this is also in a way step by step, like I was explaining to all of you yesterday, that how do we break it down? I'm breaking it down steps wise. Okay, nothing unusual, nothing great. Okay, and this client wants it like this, in a particular manner. Okay, so I wrote it in that manner. This is a very simple document. There can be very, very complex documents also, and this is for a document that everybody knows, everybody understands what has to be done. The developer has worked on it 4 or 5 times already, so he knows, I know, everybody knows. Okay, then also we have to write, a lot. Okay, I'm bringing up another one. Okay, so I'm using a mix of what do you call, Word document and Excel sheet here. Okay, so you would see this is something what you call a requirement traceability, a little bit like a requirement traceability. You see the name of the state, and I'm saying this is following that, and so on. Okay, then I have some illustrations, just to show the maths of it. You might have seen very similar documents, but here you can see, right, the logic.
Yes.
Akshita?
Yes.
Hira?
Yes.
Can you see this document?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So yeah, so basically, I'm trying to illustrate here for the developer how he starts where he starts, what value he has to pick up, then where he goes, and then I'm giving him some pointers that when when they develop, they should see premium changing at every renewal. Transition factor should decrease. I've shown it through this arrow that it's decreasing, and I'm saying, this is your final outcome. Okay. Um, Basically, explaining to them what needs to be done, some sort of traceability. I mean, no client will follow an ideal document. They will all go for, they'll tell you, I am working like this. I want you to work like this. So I'm doing it in the way client wants it to be. But my fundamentals are strong, with the basic documents. So I'm able to mold any document as per my client requirements and say, this is how we can do it. You want to see many more documents, or should we go back?
So this is basically a PRD, or it is a stress, like the requirement traceability matrix?
Yeah. So this one was a mix. Akshita, this was a mix of requirement traceability and a PRD. This was a mix.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. That no client will follow the purest form of the documents. No client will ever follow that.
Right.
They will always, without fail, come back to you, saying that this is what we follow. Can you modify accordingly? So I have modified it accordingly. Because I cannot follow. I cannot say that I am a BA and this is what I will do and nothing else. Nothing else. They'll probably kick me out.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but your fundamentals are in those documents itself, nothing else. Okay. Like my client, the problem with my client is, the problem or the approach my client is, they are very, very verbal. So my safest approach with them is I literally make the document very verbal, meaning lot of English, lots and lots of English. Okay, but that is not true for every client. Some of them like, pictographic representation. Some will come back and say, you know what, you've written so much English, don't do that. Just give me high level picture and I'm good to go. Okay, some will say, no, I want this, I want that. See, this is what I'm saying, that that you have to become strong enough in your skill set that this one, I was working with one person. He just told me, give me the issue, give me the correction. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. So I gave them that. IT will need to make the required changes within DC. That's our system to correct the round into the final step, because we all knew what the change was. Okay, so not a very well documented requirement, as if you ask me. But it happens. It happens all the time. This is let me bring this one up. Yeah, this one basically happened because there was a problem in our system, and the business, meaning my client, did not know how it is working. We developed the system because they had confidence on us, and when we developed it, the maths of it did not really turn up the way it should have. So we sat down and we said, hey, you know what, let's break it down one by one, and I will tell you what's happening on my system, and then you tell me, should it happen or not? So we went over each of the elements one by one, and then we eventually came back with some agreement that, yeah, this is right or this is wrong. Happens. When I joined the industry, I thought the client knows everything, but that's not true. They are sometimes at loss like us, but they're client. All right. So basically, idea is you should be able to write your functional specification document, also called BRD. And I'll tell you what is the difference. They're not the same. Functional specification document is different from your business requirement specification, okay, which is different from your use case requirement document, which is very different from your business requirement document. Okay, but they're used interchangeably, but I would expect that if I'm training you, you should know the difference between the two, all of these, okay? But most popular is your FSD, because that's how most of the BA start. Nobody gives a fresh BA mostly to start with business requirement document, because business requirement document means you are understanding everything. FSD is a very small part of a business requirement document. So mostly you start with FSD. Okay, so that's why I focused on that. Okay, then point number 10 is basically you have object-oriented activity and UML. So UML is nothing but the same thing as we talked about rational unified process, right? So very important component of that is unified modeling language. So UML basically is, at a very high level, a pictographic representation of how the entire process is flowing. So you can think of, a situation, when if you're, Hira or, Akshata, do you even ever go to Facebook or, something like that? Do you ever go there? Do you use Facebook?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Sometimes we get very good articles where they show, how one thing is happening and it leads to another thing that leads to another thing. There's a sequence, right? Hira, have you ever seen maybe in newspapers or something when they try and explain, any problem or any scam also sometimes they show you the flow of money and everything. Remember, I must have
Yes.
noticed it sometimes. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
Right.
at a very high level, in a layman term, a UML is nothing but a way of showing the process. It's also a way of showing the relationship between the different stakeholders. Like, what is the role of a loan officer in the bank? So far we have been focused so heavily on the loan officer, what he does, what he do, how he will give requirements. But he is not the end all. He's not the manager of the bank. So if you were to show where he fits in within the organization, we'll have to think that there is a hierarchy, right? And how does that hierarchy impact my system, right? There can be chances that, somebody walks in saying, I am a very rich guy, but I need 5 million of loan for my house. Now imagine this loan officer, can he by himself approve, even if he gets everything, going for this customer, he has to go to bank manager, right? For approval, final approval.
Yeah.
Right. So now he brings in, another stakeholder. He says, what, your IT system is telling me I can approve, but in reality, I cannot approve anything more than $500,000. So now, can the IT system develop an enhancement in which case, if the loan amount is more than $500,000, the mail goes to bank manager for approval, and then it comes to me. So now you have a new requirement coming out of nothing, pulled out of thin air basically. So UML is a very good tool of documenting. Not many customers use it because it's a very expensive method of documenting requirements, because it requires a lot of effort by the business analyst himself, and it takes a lot of time. It's very good for long term, and the world we live in is based on shortcuts, right? Optimization, cost, time, money, everything. So it's the ideal way, but not very strongly practiced. But definitely, I would recommend you to learn it, because it's the most popular question on the interviews. What is UML? What is UML 2.0? What is current UML? How do you work with UML, and so on? Okay. All right. Moving on, we have requirement verification and sign-off. So this is basically your structure and grammar, banned words, validation, pre-review, review, sign-off, and so on. Okay. So nothing great. This is more like good practices. We have tools, documentation, and validation. So I've been talking about rational unified, basically the rational suite. So you have rational requisite pro, you have rational rows, you have rational, others. There are 5 tools actually under rational, and so on. So this is basically around the part in which a BA works as a tester also for a little while. They are not the tester, but they work like a tester because they are the ones who have in-depth knowledge of any particular subject. Okay, and Kira, this may interest you, the next part, which is SQL, right? So basically, what is the logic behind SQL? What is expected from you as a business analyst when we say, do you know SQL, and so on? Okay, even today I work on SQL. I'm working on something or other. I'm right now designing another system, and I'm helping people on SQL. So I'm writing some couple of queries and stuff like that, but not very advanced, very basic. But I'm creating a new system. So I'm creating a banking system, a module for a client which has operations in India and in US. So I'm creating some sort of tables that will help them, Okay. Domain training, this is basically, as per my knowledge, I am best equipped to handle life, property and casualty in healthcare. I can try and teach banking. I can definitely go a little bit here and there because I've worked on those systems. I have worked on HR systems. I have worked on a little bit of airlines. So I can talk about them. Okay. Healthcare, I'm very strong on both payer and provider, but I haven't worked on it for the last 2-3 years. That's the only thing. Otherwise, I'm very strong on healthcare. There is no issue with healthcare. In fact, most of the times, my interview trick questions are around healthcare. When I trick, candidate with questions like, what is a deductible, what is copay, what is co-insurance, what is out-of-pocket, what is in-pocket, what is your in-network, out-of-network. And trust me, a lot of people staying in United States, all of us have health insurance mostly, but we don't understand the meaning of this term. What is pharmacy prescription? What is emergency? People get confused so easily. It's not very difficult to confuse anybody with all this. Next one is the interview job preparation. So, I've kept a session for it, but really speaking, my goal is to keep talking to each one of you and bring up those things that happen in an interview. So more or less we'll be covering this up, but we'll have a separate session also. We can have one-to-one interviews, between you and me, so that I can interview like the way it should be. There would be some CV, and I think somebody will be helping you with the CV. I'm not sure of that, but we can go through that part. And then obviously the topic-wise study material, like Hira was saying, he hasn't received the presentations, so eventually these presentations will come to you. Okay, it's not really the 16th point, but it will be one of the things. Okay. All right. So.
Rajiv, I have a sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a quick question. I wanted to ask you that do you recommend some other study materials or something which is online? Like I said, I am not working currently, so I have a lot of time and I wanted to utilize it. And I do try researching on internet, but there is a lot of information available. So I kind of don't understand which exactly which exactly is an authentic source, or so just wanted to know if you recommend reading something or some websites or some YouTube videos.
Yes. What I would suggest to you is, I'll tell you what happens, Akshata and Hira. You can also, this is also very important for you. Okay, I have a very pet site called batimes.com. I go there and I spend my time and energy there. I don't go all over the internet because the internet is full of stuff. Okay, it's just too much. Okay, and you can see the BA Times here, right? Okay.
Right.
Hira, can you see BA Times?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll tell you what is the problem with this site. It's a very good site where authentic, everything is well intended and everything. The problem is, okay, all these sites, they are very current. Okay. They will not start with something like who is a BA, what is a BA. They will just jump on something and you have something like, you're talking about business process modeling, right? The power of business process modeling in your business application. Now, I don't expect both of you to understand this. And really, spending energy on this is not going to help us, because what happens is, my experience, okay, totally my experience, whenever I'm learning a new skill, like nowadays I'm learning keyboard because my kid is learning the keyboard, the Casio. Trust me, I've tried many books from library. Nothing worked for me. I'm not able to learn. Sometimes I doubt my ability to learn. I feel I've become too old. But the problem is not that. The problem is I'm not learning something from the basics. And this is where you will have a problem when you go to the internet. You can listen to anything. You can spend hours. I'm not discouraging you by any means, but I know how the learning process runs, right? And in an IT industry, you'll have to learn and unlearn and learn and unlearn, so you keep moving on the projects and everything. So, long story short, okay, go to this site, okay, BF, Times, go to articles, pick up anything that tells you about the new, the starter material, okay, nothing else. Don't go to all these, big articles, they will not help you. But let me go to resources, okay, let me bring up something. Yeah, you can start with these templates, okay? You can start with these templates, okay? And, just keep yourself focused on these templates, because the good part with these templates is they are not telling you anything other than a simple, basic meaning of what it is, okay? Start getting comfortable with these templates, okay? And then you have my training to go along, where I explain everything to you. And it's like, when you keep hearing the same thing, when you get examples, suddenly over the next few days, things will start making sense to you. Okay, what is the meaning of visibility? What is the meaning of traceability? These are the 3 slides I wanted to cover today, though, and spend a lot of time on the curriculum today. But basically, I was saying today, like visibility, traceability, accountability. When you read these words in the articles on the internet, they will not make much sense, okay, unless we give you a substantiated with examples. So Akshata, specifically for you, what I'm suggesting is stick to templates, okay, get comfortable with these templates. The training will come, training will follow through in the next week, and then you will be able to marry the two and say, okay, here are the template codes. This is what we, mean by all this, okay?
Right.
I'm not trying to discourage you. I wish I could help you more here. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It takes time. Everything takes time and effort.
Right.
All right. All right. So that's where we are. I showed you basically a business requirement document that I wanted to show you anyways. Okay. And these slides, here we are just saying, I wanted to cover them, so I'll just spend 2 minutes. So I'm just saying that, visibility, it's the job of a BA to bring visibility to the requirements of the IT team. Traceability we covered, as a part of requirement traceability, what it is. And accountability is when, when you take the complete ownership of the, thing from the business and say, hey, loan officer, you can go and do your loans. I am understanding everything. I will document it, and I'll get it delivered on your behalf. So that's what it is, and with that, we have actually come to the end of the introduction session. Okay. So anything else? Let me know. I think I'm not sure how it will work out from here. Satya has told me that I'll be there. And I'm assuming that Akshata and Hira, you will be also there, next session onwards, right?
Right. So you mean the session is not at fixed, right? I mean, the schedule and all is not. So you're not sure if we have a class tomorrow?
Right. Basically, I'm a little vague because Satya has to help us here. Hira, how is it working out for you as well? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with the current schedule. Even I'm fine. Even on Friday too. So that is 5 days in a week.
Okay, and you're also comfortable on the weekend?
Yes.
Okay, and one more question I have for each one of you is, I'm not sure about Purani and Bharti at this point of time.
Sorry for interrupting you, Raju. Probably I won't be available on Saturdays and Sundays.
Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. See, my job is to ensure that we all learn in a very conducive environment. Okay, so which is right. So if something else needs to be worked out, I am flexible. You're flexible. But in the mornings, how does it work out for you? Are you based in the East Coast or the Pacific or Central? What time zone are we?
I'm based in Pacific.
You're based in
Pacific. Yeah, I'm in Central.
You're in Central. All right. So morning is difficult, right? Basically, like
yeah, morning is difficult.
Because
Evening will be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, and then probably instead of 1 hour, we can do a 2-hour session with some 10 minutes of break. I mean, it's up to you because it's your
Yeah.
job search, it's your thing. I don't know, Hira, what's your availability for 2-hour session?
Yeah, man, no problem. In the evening, I'm available.
Okay, right, right. But that also presents a challenge to us because, um, 2 hours of all this. Um, I think what I would want to do is if we all agree upon a 2-hour session and it's just
Mhm.
3 of us, what I would want to do is I will do 2 hours, then 1 day of exercise for you, then 2 hours, then 1 day of exercise for you. I think that way this will work better because uh, if we keep 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, then the sessions will quickly complete, and I'm not sure whether I'll be overburdening your mind with so much of information. And I don't want that to happen because I myself don't like it when somebody overburdens me with information and things get over. Uh, that's my take. I mean, I leave it to you. We can do something like 2 hours followed by an exercise session for next day, wherein you sit and do the exercise. Then next day we review and immediately do a session, and so on. So there will be exercise at least 2 days a week or 3 days a week. Okay, and those don't count as sessions. Okay, those don't count as a session. They are just
But
basically an
then
off day
won't it
when.
take a long time to complete then the entire course? I mean, then actual sessions will be just 2 days a week, right? So, like,
No, it will
won't
be
it take?
3 days. 3 days basically, Rakshita. It will be like, so let's say, I'm flexible. Okay, I'm just proposing.
Right.
So Monday
Mm-hmm.
Monday we do 2 hours. Tuesday you whole day do the exercise. Wednesday we
Mm-hmm.
review. Thursday you do another exercise. Friday we again have a session. Then weekend you do the exercise, and then again come back on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Raju, if is it so, how many weeks it will take to finish the entire course?
Okay, let me bring up. Okay, what's your expectation? Let's start from there. Okay, because I think
Mm-hmm.
we are all skeptical here. So let's start from there. How much time, Sira, you have? Like today is 10. So let's say we kick off on 14. So
Mm-hmm.
we have. When do you want to wind it up by? What's a good time for?
Sorry, what did you say? I could not understand. When did you?
Okay, so let's say we start kick off formally on 14.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a good time? Like when do you want to finish it up? Like 3 weeks,
Yeah.
4 weeks?
Yeah, actually for me, if you ask, then I would at least like to finish it in 4 weeks. The reason for this is, like I said, that I finished my education in September. So
Okay.
I need to start a job soon because they have to apply for me for H1B as well. And I have a
Okay.
location constraint as well, due to some reasons. So
Right.
that's,
Right.
so if I let's say that, if we finish the training by September, like December ending or maybe January first week or second week. So after
Okay.
they start, so if I don't get a job by March, I won't be able to apply. They won't be able to apply
Oh,
me for H1B.
no,
And
I
my
understand. I
my
understand.
many days and months have first of all wasted, and I'm really very tense right now because I'm also married,
Okay.
so I have
Okay.
location constraints. So that's the
No,
reason
I, no,
why.
I understand that perfectly, Akshita. No problem. Okay,
Yeah,
no problem.
yeah,
I'll discuss it with Satya. So we
yeah,
have one
sure,
week, 1 week between 14 to 18,
right.
21st to 25th is second week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe around that time we can do more sessions because personally I will be available after 23rd to 27th actually because of the leaves in the office and everything.
Vacation. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and here I'm coming back to you. Okay, I'm just discussing the plan with Akshita right now, and then we have the third week. So
Right,
we have a strong capability right now. I mean, in terms of time to finish it up by 1st of January.
right.
Okay, we have some way to finish it up by 1st of January, given the volume we have to cover. And now coming back to you, Hira, what is your expectation?
Yeah, I'm okay if it finished in 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, the thing is, I'm sailing in the same boat as Akshita told,
All right,
because
all right.
yeah, my OPT started already, so I had to get into the job by a particular time. So
Okay,
um,
all right. Okay, no
four
problem.
or 5 weeks is good for me.
Okay, so let's do it like this. Let's target starting on 14, and it's all in Satya's hand, not in my hands. Okay, I'm available. I am available even tomorrow for 1 hour. So if he says, let's start immediately and everything, then we will get the rolling. I'll get the slides out for you guys so that you can actually review them before coming, and then we can start off and save a day tomorrow also and start uh, getting across. And in fact, yesterday was my marriage anniversary, so I was there yesterday. So it's not like
Oh, even
first
my
I'm
anniversary
dedicated.
was there yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So
That's why I was
in that
outside
sense,
actually yesterday. I attended session
oh,
from my computer.
all right. Okay. So that's how I'm dedicated, just to give you a sense. Once we start, and we will finish it up. So, and I don't mean to do, take you through those sessions just because we have to finish it. We have to strike a balance between preparing you for the interview, getting you in a position where you feel confident I can face a B interview, vis-a-vis the amount of time we spend in the classroom. Because if I do it in 2 weeks, you will feel confident after 2 weeks, but third week you will start feeling maybe I need one more week of this. So let's start it like this. If we start tomorrow or 14th, we target first, and then I am committing you one more week, okay, of touch point, 4 to 8, okay, wherein if nothing else comes up, if our course is complete, we'll just do exercises. We'll do more exercises. We'll do domain training. We'll do, interviews. We can do a lot of case studies and everything. But I'll keep that. We'll still keep it 4 weeks, but 3 weeks will be focused on exercise and the curriculum. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Does that
So
sound
that mean,
good, Ira?
yeah, I mean to say that the 5 weeks, right?
So, okay, so the way it's working out, Ira, is 14th to 18th is first week,
Okay.
21st to 25th is second week, okay, and we can have little bit heavy sessions around this time because I am available even in daytime on 24th, 25th, most likely.
Okay.
Okay, then 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, first, we continue to study, okay. This is the third week actually, not the fourth week. And then in the fourth week, okay, if something is left, we will do that. If nothing is left from the curriculum, then we will spend time on domain training and doing exercises, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Okay, that is the basic I would still need, right? But by what we are achieving by doing this way is we are completing the curriculum in 3 weeks, and then fourth week we are just keeping it to clarify, to do anything, 1 hour every day, 1.5 hour, and doing case studies, domain, and all those things. Now after that, if you need more time, 11 to 15, you can let me know. I mean, it's not like there are additional charges or anything. It's just that you can let me know, and then we can plan for 11 to 15 also.
Okay, if required, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Raju, as per your opinion, how many weeks do you believe that it's inadequate to train?
Okay, so my answer to you is basically if we have to cover these 15 topics, okay, if we have to cover these 15 topics, we need to spend minimum 1 day each on these topics, right? So 15 days, and we are taking exactly 15 days to cover these topics, right? So we have 15 days to cover these topics, and we have 15 days to do this. And in between, I'll give you all the exercises. So 3 weeks. Fourth week, we can cover domain, okay, or we can cover SQL, okay, we can cover job interviews and everything. But I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do it in 15 days, maybe 17 days, maybe 18 days, and then we do that.
Okay.
See, actually, Hira, my problem is I'm not able to tell you that it will finish up in 15, right? Because if it's just 3 of us, I think we can still do it in 15 days. Okay, we are very comfortable with each other. We can ask questions and so. But if there are more people, like 3, 1 more person may join, then obviously I have to talk to that person also and back and forth. So 4 to 5 weeks is a good time. But I want to cover the concepts upfront, and then we come to domain and the SQL training.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Hira, you can tell me, whatever way you want
Yeah,
to
the
do
thing
it.
is, the only reason why I'm asking so precisely is I don't want to be not in too rush, just in terms of time, not to understanding the concepts. Then if I go to an interview, because
Right, right, right.
this is not my field in the sense like I have to learn everything.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
so I want to be confident as well. At the same time, I want to finish the course within time. So it's just an act of balancing, you know.
Yes, and in 3 days, we have spent together, all three of us. I think you got a good sense that I actually tend to go more into details rather than I don't intend to, but I actually end up in more detail than what I intend to, and that's my habit. Basically, I'm a BA, so I'll talk, I'll do something. It's my profession, so I will go more into details. Even when I go to client interview, I ask for 1 hour. I often spend 2 hours, and the client don't mind it generally because they enjoy the whole thing. Right. So uh, uh, we'll do 15 plus 1 week. We'll keep in reserve. If that 1 week doesn't help us, we'll go for the 5th week also. Okay. But the idea is, if you are able to do these basic things, requirement engineering, requirement analysis, what's going on in the industry, how do you do the analysis, what is the skill set, I think you'll be in a very good position to face the interviews.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's based on my experience. And the 3 days I spent so extensively, giving you a feel of how a BA, is, or what
Mm-hmm.
BA is. So I think now we can just focus on the hard skills for next 2-3 weeks, and then we can again switch back to the interview skills and domain skills and everything.
Yeah, right.
Right, Akshita? Hira,
Yes.
are you convinced, or
Yeah. That's
Okay,
fine
all right.
with me. That's fine with me.
All right. Yeah, no. It's good to talk, and we know what our expectations are from each other. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining.
So
Rajiv, I just wanted to talk to you something.
Yeah.
Can I stay after Hira has left?
Yeah, please go
Hello?
ahead. No
Yeah, I was
problem.
saying that. Okay. So what I wanted to tell you is like, the organization through which I was coming. So the problem is, right now the person whom I was speaking to, he just asked me today about my bachelor's and all. So I told him I have a medicine bachelor's and all this stuff. So what he told me was that he is still yet to confirm with his organization and let me know, because since my master's and my bachelor's both is in non-engineering, so he don't know how it is going to work out in future. So he is going to tell me by tomorrow. So just wanted to let you know that, in case
Yeah,
if he
sure,
tells
sure.
me that he said that, okay, if that would be the case, then you may not want to, go ahead with us, because we might not take people with non-engineering background, because we might have a
Right.
problem placing you. So
Okay.
he's going to let me know tomorrow. So I don't know what I would love to continue, of course, but if he tells me something by tomorrow, I think if I get a chance, I will surely join the class and just let you know. But I'm just telling you,
Yeah,
don't
no
worry,
problem.
because
No,
since you have been a very good instructor, so I don't want it to happen that, okay, tomorrow I'm not just there and you wonder you
no problem,
to
Akshita.
her.
We are all doing our bit, to help each other. It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. I'm glad you told me this. It's okay. It's
Yeah,
perfectly
because
okay.
I really want to join. I mean, I really want to continue. But if he tells me that, we will be having difficulty in placing you, I'm not actually through the SSI. I'm actually come to a different micro infoflux to a different organization. This is just a
Right,
training source. So he told me
right.
yesterday that, I have to confirm it with my associates and I'll let you know. So I just thought to let you know, in case if Satya tells me no, you cannot, because, since you're not taking the training or something happens, then I hope just thought to let you know, because since we are in good terms and you have been a very good instructor, just didn't wanted to just go away like that.
No, thank you, Akshita. Thank you for being so generous. No problem. I think I hope everything works out for you.
Yeah, seriously. Because I don't have any much options right now. I'm in a very difficult position. Just
Okay.
hoping for the best.
Yes. No, things will work out definitely. All right. Don't worry. All right. Good night, guys.
Yeah, Rajiv, but how do you know tomorrow will be class or not?
Yeah, I'll speak to Satya, and he will confirm to me, because I'm also dependent on Satya to that extent. That
Okay.
tells me, right? If he says everything is good, we can start tomorrow and everything. We will start tomorrow. We'll save a day. What's the why waste a day, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.